Welcome to Rich in Blockchain. Hey guys, today is the 7th of September 2022 and we're just doing a bit of a market recap on Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins. So as we can see here, Bitcoin has broken down from trading sideways from yesterday's TA that we have done. So what I can see right now is that we're just retesting this falling wedge that has formed. Generally what happens with the falling wedge is it will come back down to retest. So let's say it broke out sideways. Generally we would like it to be breaking upwards with some volume. But what has happened here is we're doing a bit of this. So generally what can happen is one or two things. We can continue to bounce from here and move up, or what will also happen is we will be breaking downwards. So as we can see here, we've formed a bit of a bear flag. So looking at that with the price of that bear flag, we can also take it down, because we'll be trading sideways, and what would happen is we'll be coming back down to this range of about that 17,400, 17,500. And if we look back in history, what we can generally see as well is that its lows here is about that 17,500 mark, which means that if that happens, so I'll get rid of this line here. So if we do decide to break lower, what may happen is that we can form a double bottom, touch down there, and then break up from there on, which means that if we do that kind of move, what would necessarily happen would be that we'll be breaking through this downwards trend line. Oops. As we can see here, so this downwards trend line that has been happening since November, so it's holding. So generally once we break past this point here, we will be breaking out of this bearish trend that has been forming. But until then, unfortunately, we're looking bearish still. So just because we might form a double bottom here and actually hit this point of the trend line, doesn't mean that we can't get rejected at all. So what may possibly happen is in the coming days, weeks, BTC may hit this downwards trend line, get rejected, and unfortunately what may happen is we'll hit that point there. We can possibly come back down to retest this point here, or hit about the previous support line, which is roughly at about the $11,000 range. We do not want that to hit at all at that range, but this is what I'm seeing happening in the coming weeks. So next we're going to have a look at Ethereum. So with Ethereum is pretty much in the same position at the moment, but the difference is it's holding a lot better than BTC. So currently we're trading on this support line and we're just touching it so many times at the moment, but we also have this downwards resistance trend line forming here as well. So as we get closer to the apex, one of two things may happen, similar to what BTC. At the moment we are very uncertain. We can either break up, which means that we're going to be in a bullish market, so once we break this resistance line, or what may happen is we trade sideways, keep testing this support line, and then we come back down and hit this bottom bit here at about that $1,100 range, which may signify that we are forming a double bottom here, and from that double bottom we can come back up to retest the $1,800 mark. So with the ETH merge approaching as well, I would say that the likelihood would be a scenario too where we'll be breaking down. Having a look at BNB, I mean, based on what we saw yesterday, the chart's not looking that great. You can see here that's broken out of its support trend line. So what can possibly happen from here on out is that we'll come back where we're at now, bounce back up, touched the top of the trend line, which would be now acting as resistance and possibly getting rejected back down to the $180 mark, which we would not really want to see that, but that also confirms that this may also be classified as a double bottom, which means that if we have a nice bounce, we can come back up to the $290 or $300 range and test that as a resistance before we continue up. Looking at ADA, not much change or differences there. We're still trading sideways. As I said yesterday, pretty much from this support line, so a bit boring for ADA there. Didn't have much of a harsh fall. Same as XRP. XRP is trading sideways. Pretty much that long downwards trend is still in play as we get closer to the apex. Would love to see XRP break upwards, but until we hit that point and break past this downwards trend line, nothing much can be done about it yet. Looking at Solana, still the same as well as yesterday. Pretty much looking at this point here, this is pretty much testing as the support zone. More times that we touch the support zone, however, we are more likely to break downwards, which is what we don't want. But we have broken out of this long downwards trend. So now we're just trading sideways. So hopefully by the end of it, we can do one of this move and continue on up. Looking at Matic, pretty much done the same thing as BNB or Binance coin. So right now we've broken down out of the supporting trend line. So in my opinion, what what Matic is going to do is come back. So it's going to form and hit the support zone, which is roughly around here. It's going to come back up to retest the trend line, which is now going to act as resistance, and it's going to continue on further down, possibly touching this resistance line, which now should also act as a support line. And if it does do that, we can also say that it's going to be classified as a double bottom. Looking at Avax, nothing much has really changed about Avax. Thought we would have had a bit more of a pullback, but clearly it does look like we have pretty much a bottom on Avax, and as we can see here, won't be doing much until we break out of this actual downwards trend as well. Chainlink, stuck in the same scenario as all the others. Everything is dependent on BTC at the moment. Today's new one, we're also going to be having a look at VeChain. Looks like it's done an ABC correction, Elliott wave correction, but like the others, we are still on a downwards trend until we actually break past this downwards trend line. So until then, nothing else can be done about that, but we are actually testing this support zone, which was once resistance at the 2.3 cent range. Next, looking at HAPI, one of my favorite projects. The market didn't, I guess the BTC crash didn't really affect it too much. Yeah, I mean, we're still in a downwards trend here, but what we have done is from this Fibonacci retrace, we can clearly see that it's retraced back to one of the golden pockets, which is at 0.618. Bounce from here. What I would love for us to see is pretty much from here on out, so it's done with these, is that we continue on up. And the next resistance zone would be about that $15 range, because if we look in the past, it was trading here for a while. And then from then on out, what I would like to see is it getting a bit of a pullback before we continue on up. I got one of the requests from one of the subscribers anyway to have a look at HAPI or Hacken, the cybersecurity project. And unfortunately, just like all the other projects at the moment, it's all dependent on BTC until we actually break the trend. So right now what we're doing is we've broken out of this downwards trend. I mean, you can pretty much say that this high token is at its bottom. So from here on out, what I can say I'll be doing is pretty much trading sideways for a while until the market actually starts moving up again and we can start getting some risk on. Anyway, my name is Rich and you've been watching Rich in Blockchain. I'll catch you again soon for the next episode. Please remember to like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a good one.